Seven-figure squad. Run it up, we raise the bar. Seven-figure squad. Finesse, we go far. Seven-figure squad. Who are we? Seven-figure squad. What we do? Run it up, run it up. Who are we? Hey, seven-figure squad. What we do? Run it up, run it up. Started from zero, got God in the plan. Now I'm counting blessings, God wealth in my hand. Used to dream small, now the mindset grand. And I move like a boss, not a flash in the gram. It's a squad, not a clique. It's a mission with a vision. We build a seven figures, not just seconds for attention. Faith in the grind, purpose in the hustle. I don't chase cash, I attract it through muscle.
All right, what's cracking, everybody? Money Smart Guy Matt Sapoli here. What's cracking, everybody? Money Smart Guy Matt Sapoli here. Hey, Lindsay from Dallas, Texas, and welcome to the Millionaire Responds, the only 2 p.m. Tuesday live where faith meets finance, where money meets mindset, and where we take culture's chaos and turn it into kingdom clarity. So, fam, today's lineup feels like, these reaction videos feels like America is standing at a fork in the road. On one side, you got fear, you got socialism, you got confusion, you got generational drift. On the other side, my preferred side of ownership, of leadership, of opportunity like never before. So we're gonna hit it all today because starting with some of these videos here, Dallas-Fort Worth just locked in a $14 billion AI infrastructure deal in Plano, Texas, right down the street here. Meaning the financial capital of America is shifting right under our feet, as well as AI infrastructure shifting under our feet. Because we got moms also on TikTok teaching their sons democratic socialism. Plus, we got videos declaring that capitalism, they're going to destroy in 1 minute in this news segment. And, your boy's got a biblical and economic rebuttal for that foolishness. When we're breaking down retirement panic from 1994, what were people worried about in 1994? We were worried about the same thing in 2025, and this is what we're in 1994, and showing why some of the fears haven't quite changed. But today, the solutions are much different. We're also going to be reacting to baby boomers. The baby boomers had it easier. They had it so much easier than their generation. And we're going to separate excuses from economics because in Proverbs 10:4, it says that lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. What hands you got? Nothing changed about that scripture in 1960 or 2025. We're also going to see a clip here about Michael Irvin, playmaker, right here with Dallas Cowboys, teaching young athletes how to steward their first $5 million and why most athletes don't have a money problem. They've got a mentor problem. And we also have an estate planning attorney who's breaking down her financial strategy for her own kids. And in spite of what's going on with how kids and parents are going out, getting along with money and finance, see how an attorney deals with it, especially when in the estate planning world, which deals with financial services. So I want to connect that with Deuteronomy 6, chapter 7, and why legacy is not an event. It's a lifestyle. We're also going to see a clip about Milton Friedman talking about welfare and the long-term trap that nobody wants to talk about and what's been revealed since this video was shot. And we're ending with something real, something pretty doggone hilarious, something raw, a video about a guy closing his garage door with his boy sitting in the car watching him do it because life is short. Legacy is real. And your calling is urgent. So if you're between 25 and 35, married, building a business, battling emotions, expectations, pressure, feeling stuck between what the world told you to be and who God called you to become, this is your hour. And this is where excuses come to die. This is where clarity is built. And this is where mindset meets mission. So before we get things popping off here, drop live in the comment section below, whether you're on the live chat or watching on the replay, put live in the comments below so I know you're locked in. All right, we're gonna start it here in 3, 2, 1. Come on. All right, so before I kick off the reaction videos, I just want to say thank you to everybody that showed up at the Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event last Wednesday on our new 2-part topic called Dallas, the new financial frontier. That's right, Dallas, the new financial frontier. And And here's the thing. Here's what's going on. I believe I was having a conversation today with a guy that's dealing with billions of dollars of real estate developments, private equity firm, and he couldn't agree more with what we shared last Wednesday. We also revealed, if you haven't seen it yet, that our Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event is going to show and showcase on the next one, February 12th, 2026, the first one for 2026. We're going to be featuring not only a special guest, but a special guest from the Texas Stock Exchange. We're going to have Jerry Karcher here, and he's going to share with you what his insight is in terms of what impact the Texas Stock Exchange is going to be here in Dallas. Get your tickets here right now. I just got a text message from a mortgage professional. I was doing a workshop yesterday with some realtors, and right away, he locked in an elite ticket. One of the fastest tickets gets sold out is the elite tickets, because that's an opportunity for us to not only have dinner before the event begins, but also exchange ideas. And that's where you know you're around some players here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We had a fantastic time last time. We had guys flying from Missouri. We had people flying from San Diego. We had people flying from Chicago, wanting to know what we're doing here in Dallas and how they can absorb that into business and also duplicate that back into their cities and states. Because there's a lot of impact what's going on in America. And of the states, that's the most being impacted right now, what's going on in politics and what's going on with these redistricting, et cetera, et cetera. I want to make sure we protect our home state, because we got to protect, and with inside this home state, we can protect the most powerful city, which I believe is Dallas. Yeah, you can say what you want about Houston. You can say what you want about San Antonio. You can say what you want about Austin. You can say what you want about El Paso. But Dallas right now is going to be the home of not one, because the next day after we did a Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event last Wednesday, the next morning, the NASDAQ said they're opening up a stock exchange in Dallas. The very next morning. We're going to have 2 parallel stock exchanges here in Dallas here within the next 12 months. It's going to send a financial ripple effect across America, seeing assets under management move from different cities and states like New York, like Chicago, like California, like LA to Dallas. And evidence of that is this video right here, because people are messing around with stuff going on in the state, but there's a $40 billion Texas data center deal they just closed. Let's take a look at this clip.
NVIDIA and Microsoft for the Texas area. The Dallas-Fort Worth region just landed one of the largest tech infrastructure deals in U.S. history.
Woo!
And here's what you're going to want to know about it. Plano-based Alliance data centers will be acquired in a $40 billion transaction led by BlackRock's global infrastructure partners, Microsoft and NVIDIA, marking the biggest ever buyout of a data center company ever. The deal was valued at $40 billion, and the closing is expected in around 2026 sometime. Now, the Plano headquarters is to remain in Texas under the current leadership. Aligned currently operates 50 data center campuses across the Americas, including Plano and Mansfield here in Texas, with a 5 gigawatt of capacity.
Wow.
The new Mansfield campus is set to open in 2026. North Texas is now the number 2 data center market in the U.S., behind only Northern Virginia. The AI infrastructure world is driving record land and energy demand all across DFW, especially in Plano, Mansfield, and Midlothian too. Private capital is flooding into Texas tech corridors as firms look to power AI's next generation. Now, you might be wondering, what does this exactly mean for you? It means that local job and infrastructure growth are expected to accelerate as that data capacity keeps on expanding. AI and data infrastructure are quietly becoming the new energy sector of Texas. As North Texas attracts global investment, local economies in Collin, Tarrant, and Ellis counties, they're seeing rising commercial development, new high-rise income job bases, and long-term real estate stability, all tied to tech growth. Tell me in the comments, would you have guessed one of the world's largest AI deals would happen right here in DFW?
Not only is Dallas-Fort Worth going to be the new financial capital of the world, we're also the new Silicon Valley. Tech companies are coming in, AI is coming in, AI infrastructure is coming in. And we haven't even talked about cryptocurrency yet. Dallas is going to be rocking the world. And I believe the most important city in Texas is Dallas. I also believe that the most important state in America is Texas. I believe the most important country in the world is the United States of America. And all boils down back to what we do here in the United States of America. And let me be a little selfish here based on what we do here in Dallas. And I want to make sure I do my part to leave an imprint to my children, to the people we coach and mentor, what's about to happen here in Dallas. Let me break this down like a kingdom entrepreneur, not a broke commentator. This is a prophetic economic shift. This is bigger than jobs. This is bigger than data centers. This is bigger than a hype around AI. This is America's financial gravity system moving south to Dallas, Texas. And as I was saying earlier, for decades, the tech world was owned by Silicon Valley. And now, big tech is quietly realizing what God already knew. Proverbs 29, verse 18 says, when there is no vision, the people perish. What's the vision of New York? What's the vision of Chicago? What's the vision of Silicon Valley, San Francisco? There is none. A bunch of crap that people don't really care about. Messing with our kids, messing with our families. You know, sometimes when we're in a situation where we've got no problems, we end up creating it. Well, guess what? Congratulations, San Francisco. Congratulations, Chicago. Congratulations, New York. And by the way, I love Chicago. I was born and raised there, raised for my 3 older kids there. I built a large part of my business in Chicago. But now we're down here in Dallas. Because Dallas became a more attractive city to us. They attracted us with the opportunities here. But you see, California lost vision, but Texas never did. There's a lot, if you don't understand it, there's a lot of pride when people say, well, things are bigger in Texas, like bigger vision. And Plano right here isn't getting a project. This is what, the largest AI infrastructure investments in U.S. history. You don't drop $40 billion unless you believe in the power grid, unless you believe in land, unless you believe in Texas, unless you believe in workforce, unless you believe in long-term stability. You don't drop $40 billion just by playing around. And again, it's better here than the coasts from a defense standpoint. The second thought here is this builds generational jobs. But more importantly, hello, entrepreneurs, opportunity. I'm talking about cloud infrastructure. I'm talking about cybersecurity, data engineering, AI maintenance, construction, real estate, service industry, and hello, financial services. Get involved in the financial service industry because you got to serve everybody, regardless if they're AI, construction, or real estate, data engineering, don't matter. This is going to be a multi-decade boom, just not a 2-year bump. Third one tells you if you're seriously looking for a place to relocate to, tells you kind of where you want to plant your flag. And I can tell you this too as well. As a father of children still in the kindergarten, grade school, junior high, high school years, what a fantastic place to raise your family. Can't tell you how many mega churches are around here. How many people are. I was just coming from Plano West. Just walking up to the parking lot. I had an appointment at 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Walking up. People are evangelizing right along the Rodeo Drive of Plano, called Plano West. So proud of him. And guess what? What's the attraction package now to move to New York? What's the attraction package to move to Chicago? What's the attraction package to move to LA? I was showing somebody the last time I was in New York was when Jalen Wells got drafted by the Memphis Grizzlies, and we're literally deadlocked in traffic. And people are walking faster and we're driving in traffic. Nothing new in New York. But I look to my left, right outside my window, and a guy's taking a crap in a garbage can. Nobody's stopping him. Nobody's saying anything. Matter of fact, I wonder if I can pull, can we show can we possibly do that, bro? Let me show this. NBA draft. NBA draft here, Jalen Wells. Right. This is us driving along in New York after the draft. Yeah, here we go. Here's the draft. We're done with the draft. Okay. Guys, I'm A Street. What A Street? Guys, just taking a dump. That's New York. Look at it. Yeah, I want to move to the state. Yeah, I want to move to the city. Guys, I was just sitting in the Suburban after Jalen just got drafted and with deadlock stuck in traffic, and I looked to my left, and this is exactly what's going on in New York. Who's moving to New York, baby? Right, and here, this is if we can show this too as well. This is us having dinner with Jalen Wells a couple years. That's Fred Wells right there. That's Jalen's father, his mother, auntie, daughters. Okay, that's Jalen Wells right there. This is a sports agents there from PNW, a sports agency. Good guys representing Jalen Wells out of the draft. Look at Jalen, happy got drafted by the Memphis Grizzlies. He's 20 years old in that picture. He's 20 years old in that picture. Afterwards, we went to a rooftop party, right? Rooftop spot, and we had to convince the doorman to let him upstairs because he was 20 years old. Had a blast. Right? You got this stuff going on. I'm going into New York. Okay, listen, I'm a patriot. I'm in America. The biggest flag that anytime you have a standard of flags, of colors, the biggest flag that should be there should be the American flag. I used to be the color guard of the United States Marine Corps 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit. And we did a parade in Guam. And I held the Marine Corps colors. Anytime the American anthem would play, I would tip the colors of the Marine Corps flag in honor and salute to the American flag, which stayed straight. Because the difference between the Marine Corps flag and any other flag is secondary to the American flag. That's how you properly respect, with pride, patriotism, the proper way to honor the American flag. But look at this. This is what you see in New York. That sexuality, which is none of my business, is over above your country. Again, no judgment if you're LGBTQ, but if that's the way you want to prioritize life, but what you do in the bedroom versus what you do in the community and bringing value to people in your neighborhood, that's why people are moving out of New York. You're confusing people in New York. You're confusing people in Chicago. You're confusing everybody, LA. And so when you're thinking about people not coming to Dallas, don't get mad now. People come to Texas, don't get mad now. People come to Plano, don't get mad now. This is why ownership matters. You know, while people argue socialism and they're arguing capitalism, the world's largest companies, meanwhile, are choosing capital and infrastructure. While folks complain about the system, the giants are building new systems right here. In the biblical perspective, what's going on today is simple. God blesses preparation. God blesses those who plan out with the stewardship responsibility of their resources, and God doesn't bless procrastination. Joseph didn't wait for famine to strike. He's there with by the way, he's an immigrant. He's sold off by his brothers, left and forgotten about. But what did Joseph do? He did the best of what he could at every piece of his life as he got sold off into slavery, kept worshiping, honoring, and following God's word. And guess what eventually God did to him? He became his number one right-hand man to Pharaoh, to the king of Egypt. And what did Joseph do? He built capacity during abundance. Same play here with this $40 billion infrastructure. And guess what this is going to affect? It's going to affect the next 20, 30 years of innovation. So if you're in your 20s or 30s and you live anywhere in Texas, you're in the middle of living in one of the greatest economics shifts and migration in modern American history right now. Some will complain, some will scroll, some will miss the whole thing because they're busy being distracted. But the wise will position themselves, prepare their families, and plant seeds now. Because Plano and Dallas, Texas is now telling the world the future is being built here with or without you. What do you want to do? Whew! What are your thoughts about this? This is a big deal. $40 billion. And by the way, right down the street from our house right here, literally like a mile away, less than a mile away, is a place they used to call the Hole by the Toll because it started during pandemic and they stopped construction. And it was just a hole. Now they just dropped $3.5 billion into what's called the Mix. Class A office buildings going to be there, shopping centers going to be there, apartment complex going to be there, rooftop hotels and rooftop apartments going to be there. It's going to be the jam. And then 2 exits up the street. Early next year, the Universal Studios will be open. And the PJ headquarters just moved up right here in Prosper, Texas. In Frisco, some of the greatest golf courses in the world right here within 5 miles of my house. Thank God God put us in a position where we can maximize all of this. Okay, let's go to the next one. This young lady is teaching her son about I like this, the difference between capitalism, socialism, and communism. Check this out.
What does he say he is?
A democratic socialist.
You decide you're going to start a lemonade stand, and you go to the store, you buy all the supplies, you set your own price, and whatever profits you make, you get to keep. Which economic system is that?
Capitalism.
Yes, capitalism, owned by the individual, operated by the individual.
Good.
The government owns the lemonade stand. The government sets the price. The government tells you exactly which products you have to use, and the government divvies out the money between everybody in our neighborhood. Which is that one?
Communism.
Yep. You own your lemonade stand, you go buy all your supplies, but there's several other people in the block and in the area that also want to own a lemonade stand, and they go buy their supplies and set their price. But then all of you together decide that the profits you make, you're going to pay taxes, you're going to share some of your profits so that you can have free lunches for the kids at your school. What economic system is that? Social democracy. Yes.
Democracy.
And people that believe in that system are called democratic socialists. So in the United States, we have a capitalist economy. People can own their own businesses. People can work for people who own their own businesses. We all pay taxes. And those taxes are supposed to go to programs that help everyone. What are some programs that in the United States we use that are part of social democracy?
Schools, roads, bridges, parks, cities,
Libraries, police departments,
fire departments, churches.
No, that's a whole other video. Why are people so freaked out that Mom Donnie won and that he says
Good job,
he's
Mom.
a democratic socialist?
Good job, Mom.
He says he's going to tax the 1% richest people in New York by 1% and
Good for you, young man.
give free transportation and that stuff.
He wants to set up programs in New York that make living there more affordable. So we agree, there's no one perfect system, but a combination where everybody pays their fair share could make society a better place.
Yeah.
I am a democratic socialist.
What does he say he
Okay, so, wow, great job, Mom. Here, make some noise for her. Wonderful job. Educating your child. This is where it starts, man. It starts in the home. If you want a better output from your child, don't outsource this teaching to the classroom, to teacher, to other friends, parents. It's you. You got to face it. That's your child. And by the way, she's correct. That last part there, there's all sorts of economic systems: capitalism, socialism, communism, democratic socialism. What's changed my life? Which economic system has changed my life? What do you think? It's capitalism, 100%. Because it gives me a fighting shot. And the crazy part is there is not going to be a perfect financial system out there for everybody. But at least capitalism gives me a fighting shot without anybody getting in the way. Now, the only way I get in my way is if I don't improve, if I don't become resourceful as a capitalist, if I don't properly steward the financial resource, my time, the talents, if I don't do that, then I lose the battle. But if I work hard at the right things, if I recreate myself, I improve, I don't get satisfied, I continue to grow. And by the way, if I deal with failure, which many people don't even call failure, it's another way not to do things. If you can deal with all that and deal with rejection along the way, guess what? The world is before you. I don't like the other aspects of socialism and communism, and here's why. Because I don't want to be forced. If I want to help somebody, let me do it because I want to do it, not because the government or the state forces me to do it. And think about this. I was just sharing this on my Keep the Keys tour. I'm talking about the trade-off between mortgage. There's a white paper called The Trade-Off Between Mortgage Payments and Tax-Deferred Retirement Savings. And the guy that wrote that white paper was a guy by the name of Gene and Raman. And Gene and Raman, it was Russia. He's from Russia. He said, I came from the USSR, the United Soviet Socialist Republic, right? It came from communism. It was socialism and then it shifted into communism because now one person is now running the country and the country's got all the power and power corrupts. You want to test a man? Give him money. You really want to test a man? give them money and power. If you really want to test the man, give him money, power, and recognition. Woo! That's when you see the real man show up. And so my point is this, is that a kid like me with no college degree, with a 2.2 GPA, United States Marine Corps veteran, I was able to accelerate 3-4 lifetimes of income in the last 10 years because of capitalism, because I was free. I was free to make my own choices, but at the same time as well, not only am I free to win, I was also free to fail, free to lose. And I took a couple shots on the chin here and there, a couple embarrassing moments, a couple things that I shouldn't have done that, but I learned. And a lot of people don't know how to deal with it because they take it too personally, they get too butthurt too fast. But if you're the type of person that can prepare, that can outwork, outlast, outimprove, out-strategize the competition, and I was saying today, a lot of people today don't know how to even make phone calls anymore. You know, most people don't do it with their phones. You know, most of the activity that this was actually created for was to make phone calls, cell phone. Now it's called a cell text, cell social media, cell email, cell DM, because people aren't using it as a phone anymore. But if you can make phone calls, you can get on the phone and start talking to people. You have this skill of EI, emotional intelligence, get in front of people and articulate and read human nature and read body language and empathize and have appreciation and gratitude for what's going on. You'll accelerate farther than most people currently right now who's not doing that. What an easier time today it is to win. And speaking of this, a lot of people don't think that capitalism is the same as it was before. Let's take a look.
I mean, this is like so fun.
This is tough. This is tough. People keep posting videos like this, saying capitalism is dead. Really? Really? Let's look at the facts. In the last 12 months, America created 500,000 new millionaires, 500,000 in 1 year. We now have 22 millionaires in America today, which is a 500% increase since 1990. See, dead systems don't grow fivefold in a generation. Let me put that one more time. Dead systems don't grow fivefold in a generation. The U.S. right now holds 39% of all the millionaires on earth, more than next 7 countries combined. If capitalism is dead, why is America minting more wealth here in America than any other country in the world if it's dead? Here's what they really don't want to talk about. 79% of these U.S. millionaires are first generation, like me. No trust fund, no inheritance, first generation millionaires, like yours truly. No Ivy League, not privileged, not tenured, no fancy last name, no rich network from scratch. I'm just a person, just like many, who's adapted to this new economy instead of waiting for the old one to restore itself. That old economy has already done shifted. We've been saying this for 20 years. That going to school, going to college, being secure for the rest of it is old. It's gone. Now we were saying that 20 years ago. Now people 20 years later starting to freaking realize it. I'm a Filipino American. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I never went to college. No pedigree. But I built a $10 insurance agency and became a field leader in a $250 million exit alongside Patrick Bet-David the last 10 years. And now we're taking a $250, $300 million company to a $1 billion era because capitalism is alive. The marketplace is responding. 10,500 clients this year so far has done business with us. Over 1,400 new life insurance agents who decided to lock arms with us to start a new career, new endeavor. Don't tell me capitalism is that. I deal with capitalism every day. People staring at me, lost, not knowing what to do, working hard, going nowhere. Capitalism dead. The old ladder to getting ahead is. And if you want real data, I did a video. We're going to put it in the comment section here about the solutions to this. So if you're watching this right now, later on, we're going to put it in the description column because I did a video, was it a week ago, 2 weeks ago, about how America is minting new millionaires. Make sure you watch that video. Let's go to the next one. Speaking of which, how was retirement in 1994? What were people concerned about? What was the crisis in 1994 versus 2024, 2025? Let's take a look at what was happening 30 years ago.
We thought we were in real good shape.
You got enough to retire on? Have you got enough to last your lives, do you think?
We hope so.
And it's just one thing after another, them savings that you had laid back seem to disappear.
Every day I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready to retire. I realize that I can't live on Social Security. It's just not going to be enough there, enough in the style of life that I want.
Social Security is not going to be enough, and so they're going to have enough invested on their own.
My wife has a 401k.
We each have a Keogh.
You have IRA, right? We both have IRAs.
But to have enough down the road, if you just invested in CDs, you're going to have basically what you have now, because inflation will just eat away all the gains.
I used to save using bank CDs.
CDs are very low.
And I just don't think that's going to get me where I want to be.
Marry rich, I don't know.
Well, at one time we thought we were in real good shape.
You got enough to retire on? Have you got enough to last your lives, do you think?
We hope so.
And it's just one thing after another, them savings that you had laid back seem to disappear.
Every day I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready to retire. I realize that I can't live on Social Security. It's just not going to be enough there, enough in the style of life that I want.
Social Security is not going to be enough, and so they're going to have enough invested on their own.
My wife has a 401k.
We each have a Keogh.
You have IRA, right? We both have IRAs.
But to have enough down the road, if you just invested in CDs, you're going to have basically what you have now, because inflation will just eat away all the gains.
I used to save.
Okay. Same similar language that you hear, what, today? Same stuff. You have money, you have savings, your retirement. People worry about the same stuff in 1994 as they are in 2025. The big challenge now is many of them, they're 30 years old. They're now in their 50s. They're now in their 60s. They're now in their 80s. And people were talking about saving more, working longer, hoping that Social Security would hold up. And here's what's happened. Here's some data points. 401ks since then have pretty much replaced pensions, meaning that you have now a qualified contribution plan, not a qualified defined benefit plan, meaning that if you don't contribute to your retirement, the company that you work for ain't going to take care of you. So if you don't take care of you, you got to take care. That started shifting in the 70s, 80s, and then 90s, and complete today. Unless you work for a union or the military or the postal service or the federal government, there is no pensions in corporate America today. You got to create your own pension. They shifted all the risk from them to you. Now, what about healthcare costs? Everybody's freaking out right now about healthcare costs. Health costs have skyrocketed by 250%. People thought that Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, maybe in that year, but what have we discovered throughout this government shutdown? That the Affordable Care Act was propping up pharmaceutical companies. That we were subsidizing all these health insurance companies to stay afloat. At 89% of the revenue came from government subsidies. Woo! And by the way, I started learning about that 10 years ago. I said, listen, if I pay for this out of my pocket versus going through my insurance company, what's the cost? You know what they'd say? If the cost was 1/3 cheaper. Just forget going through my insurance company. I just paid it by myself. I started figuring that out 10 years ago just by asking questions, using common sense. Because my fear was that the insurance company didn't ultimately cover it, I'd have to be on the hook for it. So healthcare costs is sky. And by the way, that's for current healthcare. What do you think healthcare costs are going to be for you in the 60s, 70s, and 80s when you're older? You're on Medicare. Or more importantly, you're on home healthcare where you have to pay for somebody to take care of you. This Saturday, I'm going to be speaking at a funeral. I'm doing a eulogy for a very near and dear person in our lives. And they're involved in finance and politics. And if I said the name, you'd know exactly who they are. But I'm doing a eulogy. And the last 18 months, this person had to spend $10,000 to $12,000 a month on home health care. It shocked me how much I saw the wife writing a check for somebody to take care of him day and night. A good chunk of the retirement went to funding home healthcare agency that would send these workers to help them out. In addition to that, to make things worse, the average American has got about $90,000 saved up for retirement. $90,000 saved for retirement. A lot of people don't even have anything saved for retirement. More retirees spend now more in retirement. The people thought that when you're retired, I'm going to spend money on less. People are spending more now in retirement because of inflation and medical care costs. And Social Security, they're projecting cuts to Social Security by 2035, or they're going to extend the full retirement age for Social Security, meaning that you got to wait longer to get majority of your money. So the fear that people had in 1994 is turned into a crisis we have now. And guess what didn't keep up with it? Guess what didn't keep up with the problems of 1994? One word: wages, income. You were waiting for corporate America to pay more money. Good luck. It didn't happen. Guess what skyrocketed the last 30 years? Healthcare cost of a home, purchasing a car, cost of raising a child, cost of gas, cost of education. All these things have skyrocketed 100, 200, 300%. Guess what's increased? 25% is your wages over the last 30 years. 25% wage increase over the last 30 years. Why everything has increased by 100, 200, 300%. But again, back to my original point. Here's what did happen. I'll beat this drum. 22 new millionaires in America, up 500% since 1990, up 79% to first generation millionaires because they didn't buy into the old economy. They were shifting, they're moving ahead. And what am I talking about? What's the scenario? Yeah, you probably got to do some form of home-based business. You got to do something on the side. And by the way, overtime is not a financial strategy. DoorDash, Uber Eats is no longer a financial strategy. Lyft is no longer a financial strategy. All these apps you can get side jobs on is no longer a financial strategy. You got to create your own economy. You got to figure out what business that is. You got to figure out what endeavor that is. You got to find a way to monetize something that you naturally do well, or find something that you can naturally do, or learn a skill to do well, because the shift ain't going your direction. It's going away from you. If you think that, the old economy is going to come back to what it was. It's not happening. And so when you're looking at this crisis or this situation, it's now a crisis today. Woo! And I hope, I talk about all the time in our workshops, if you like to travel, I promise you, never travel to this country with your passport. Never get a passport stamp from this country. This country is where dreams never get played out. Plans never get executed. Things just stay on the whiteboard. There's a lot of information there, but nobody does anything with the information in this country. You know what that country's called? The nation of procrastination. People know what to do, but yet they don't do it. And yet the gift horse, the opportunity is staring them in the face. I pray that a sense of urgency be bestowed upon your life. And here's the challenging part. Most people never move until they feel great pain. I hope that you're wiser than that. You can learn from the mistakes of others versus you having to go do the smart way, which is learning from your mistakes. Learn the wise way. I suggest wisdom. Don't be smart, be wise. Smart's learning from your mistakes. Wise is learning from the mistakes of other people. Whew. Oh, speaking of the good old days, let's talk about the good old days. Stossel here has got a iteration of what the good old days was all about. Let's go. Let's take a look at that.
Young people suffer today?
I scream at the top of my lungs.
Social media is filled with videos that say,
younger generations are finding it harder and harder to get reliable jobs, afford comfortable homes, start a family.
We baby boomers had things so much easier.
Your father could somehow afford a house, a car, and also put multiple kids through college.
And now it's damn near impossible for normal people to get ahead financially or shoot, even own a home.
This meme gets millions of views. Once upon a time, meaning when I was a kid, a family could own a home, a car, and send their kids to college, all on one income. This meme is all over the internet. People believe it.
And that's really a fantasy?
Economist Norbert Michel. It's not true.
No, it seems really great to think that everything was so awesome back then, but it wasn't. Materially, we are so much better off now than we were in the 60s and 70s.
Well, young people get clicks asking, what's the point of working?
You can't even live in a house. Most people don't live in houses because it's too expensive.
That's just a factual mistake.
Census data show more Americans own homes today
Interesting.
than did when I was a kid.
People are still buying homes, but it is far more expensive for them to be buying homes.
Progressives like Columbia professor Jeremy Ney here giving a TED talk about how inequality is a matter of life and death say the meme is right on.
This is correct.
That is correct.
But it's misleading. Houses are more expensive today, but they're bigger and nicer.
It's true.
The homes that we're buying now are not the homes that people were buying in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Like 3-4 times bigger.
3-bath with a 2-car garage.
We have bigger homes, better equipped homes.
Modern homes are much bigger than homes were when I was a kid. They're twice as likely to have central air, dishwashers, garbage disposals. Almost all homes
Washing
now
machines,
have
yeah,
washers
exactly. You can
and
go to
dryers.
laundromat.
They didn't used to. The popular meme
I
doesn't
remember growing up in a
mention
laundromat.
that. Homes were cheaper then because they're what people today call lousy homes.
The costs are still 10, 20 times higher.
No, they're not. Not if you adjust for inflation. Plus,
we spend a smaller share of our income on food, clothing, and housing than we did.
Here's the data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Americans now spend less of our money on food, clothing, and shelter.
We have a lot more things, and we don't have to work as hard to get them.
When I was a kid, few people lived like people do now.
Now it's the norm to go out for lunch.
Yeah,
It's the norm
all
to
the
go
time.
out for dinner or to
Used to
order
bag
in
it,
or to get
brown
Uber
baggy,
Eats.
lunchbox.
My family never went out to eat.
People didn't have enough money.
Also, back then, families didn't fly places for vacation. Because have you heard how young people suffer today?
I scream at the top.
But he can go on. By the way, I can tell how many people just flex all the time. I'm flying here. I'm flying here. Yeah, but when I was growing up, we didn't fly nowhere. We went to Lake Michigan, Wisconsin dunes, right? Indiana dunes. You know, Wisconsin Dells. You know, Mount Baldy, state park, local park. By the way, for those of you watching this, where did you go vacation as a kid? You know, I'm looking at my kids right now. My son, he's 6 years old. He's got 3 stamps to the Bahamas. You know, JoJo, he flew international son when he was 6 years old. He's 15 years old today. The interesting thing about my son and his grandmother, my wife's mother, is they stamped their passports for the very first time. She was 60 and he was 6. And she was stamping her passport for the very first time. In other words, what that means is they didn't spend any money on international travel coming up all the way until she's 60 years old. And she's part of that baby boomer generation. But now her daughter, her grandkids are flying all over the world. Well, outside of that, in fact, we can afford to do it. And the insurance industry flies us all over the world. But we're not taking money out of our own budget to go travel. And I get it, how people want to travel and see the world as you should. But here's another thing too as well. Jobs don't last 40 years anymore. Pensions are gone. The cost of living outpaced wages. Retirement responsibility shifted to you. So yes, old pathways absolutely got harder. But it's easier today if you, keyword this afternoon, adapt, move, adjust. Don't wait for the old ways. I can't tell you how many rich 15, 16, 17-year-olds do you have in America today. Let me look at those streamers like iShowSpeed and Kai Cenat, all these TikTokers making money. They've adapted. Yet most of America, right side by side, same generation, they're crying. And by the way, today, guess who gets the most shine? Guess who gets a lot of love? Is the complainer. It's so easy to recruit a pity party. It's harder to recruit a working party that works hard at the right things to change and adapt in this generation. But so easy to just sit back and complain. Oh, peanut gallery. What was me? Who's going to join me? My sorrows. Oh, you feel that same way too? I feel the same. Yeah, man. Complain. Yeah. I can't tell you how many channels we've been through. YouTube channels, IGs, TikToks, just straight complaints. They just talk about a problem. But you know what they don't do? Solution, or inspiration or encouragement to find another path. Like this YouTube channel. Because today it's easier in this generation if you can start your business from a phone. What? You can start a business from here. And by the way, we did. We started an AI music production studio called The Movement. This is a AI music production studio we started from the patio of my house from the balcony of the Dallas Cowboys club with a Bluetooth, with a phone, with the Notes app so I can start writing the lyrics. This is evidence of me, a 52-year-old Generation X, how we are adjusting to make an income through our brand, through our business, through AI music production. And for our guys, guess what they do with this music production studio? They can create thank you songs, thank you gifts for the clients when they do business with them. They can create a song. It's a thank you gift through 7-Figure Squad music production studios. So therefore, when the client's driving home, they put this in their phone and they see in the car in the Bluetooth their family song. Got nothing to do with us. Got everything to do with that family, that legacy, the experience of financial literacy and creating generational wealth. With things in a story that's embedded into that song. It's a thank you gift, a different business for us to get involved in. Guess what? We also created Keep the Keys. The Keep the Keys book. 20% of this book was edited through AI. That instead of having 2 editors, I just had to hire 1 editor. And that editor, I was able to elevate what they did in terms of screening and making sure we didn't have any typos. By the way, look at my first book, Free Made Millionaire. A lot of typos. Do you know what? If we had AI when I wrote my first book 3-4 years ago, we wouldn't have any typos. Here in this book, Keep the Keys, no typos. In fact, I'm adding an update to the book because after doing this in 11, 12 cities, I've seen some things across the country. Now I want to add to a new edition. I want to update this new edition. I've been incorporating these 4 ownership cards of being a complainer, being a drainer, being a container, or being a gainer. I'm adding it. For those of you who bought the book, I'm about to update this book here come next January. I'm adding a new section to the book called Which Mindset Do You Want? Which ownership card do you want to play? The card of being a complainer, the card of being a drainer, the card of being a container, or being a gainer. 1 subtracts, 1 divides, 1 adds, 1 multiplies. What do you want to do? We all got choices. That's the beauty about America. Today, you can learn on any skill online for free. Back in the 80s and the 90s, guess what the gatekeeper was? The college degree. Like you weren't anybody unless you had a college degree. And I felt, in fact, when I started my business in 1999, I felt inferior because I didn't have a college degree. That's why I didn't call Carlton back as soon as he bumped into me and they asked me if I liked a different career path outside the Marine Corps. I didn't call him back because I didn't think I had a college degree. What do you want to recruit me into a financial services industry? I don't have a college degree. In fact, I filed bankruptcy 2 years ago. I just got divorced this year. You want a guy like me on your team? In financial services? Today, that Barry ain't there. Matter of fact, more companies today don't require you to have a college degree to get a job. You can build your brand from your living room. You can. We're interviewing. We interviewed Keith Pedro, who's a Filipino comedian, and he made a joke yesterday because in a Filipino family, and the family was like, "What are you doing spending $20 on a tripod?" Mom's for my comedian. What the comedian? What do you mean you're going to be a comedian? Mom, so I can put videos online so I can start getting gigs and jobs to be a comedian. Spend $20 on my gosh. Yet, the same voice, oh my gosh, look at this Coach purse. This Coach purse, oh look at this designer, whatever, it's on discount. Let me go buy it. $800. But you're going to give Keith a hard time with a $20 stand so he can create a business? See, that's what I'm talking about. The financial literacy, the financial awareness. You change your mind, you change your reality. You change the way you think, you change the way you see, you change the way you see, you change the way you do, change the way you do, change the way you execute things, will change the way you execute things and what you execute on, it changes the results you have in your life. Bam. You can reach millions of people through social media without a gatekeeper. Back in the day, you used to you have to go through reception. Today, you can DM somebody. And for some people in a single life, it's benefited you. Because they have to gatekeep their dad or mom. You know what happened when I wanted to take my girl out in the 90s? You know how to call? I called the house phone. There's no such thing as cell phone. I had to get her digits to the house phone, and hopefully she was home to pick up the phone. But guess what? She'd never pick up the phone. Guess who picked up the phone? Mom and dad, big brother, big sister. So much easier today to get access to people. So much easier today to create leverage without a college degree. Today, you can move up faster because the ladder isn't controlled by corporations any longer. For those of you waiting for corporate America to promote you, to pay your more, you got stuck in the old economy. Today, you got to find a way to go to your boss and say, this is why you should give me a raise. Let me show you how I've done my job. And in this department, I've increased my analytics, my metrics. I show you how I increased my job. And this is what I did. I know this is what you did, boss, but this is what I did. This is how I can ask for a raise. That's called being an entrepreneur. And if you see people today with all these excuses, the good old days, stop buying into that crap. But it's so easier to, oh my gosh, there's so much, yeah. It's so much easier to pull up versus to innovate and grow and recreate yourself. What do you want to do? You want to sit there and complain and wish the old ways would come back, or do you want to innovate and grow instead of trying to beat the system? You're trying to complement and use areas in the system that allow you to grow. What am I looking at the tax code for? What incentives do I have inside the tax code that incentivize me to do what? And I'll tell you this, and we'll boil it down. 80% of the tax code is built for those that invest and own things. 10, 20% of the tax code is there for just people just clock in, clock out. But 80% of the tax code is for those that invest, build, and own things and grow things. Speaking of stewardship responsibility, Michael Irvin is coaching his guys how to manage their first $5 million. Let's see what he got to say.
Got to know how to spend your money. Okay, here's a young man growing up like I grew up with nothing. He just got a $5 million signing bonus. He says, I want to get my house, I want to get my car. So he spends $3 million house, say he spends $500,000 on cars. He's $3.5 million. Yep. And he said, I'm buying mine flat out. So nobody gonna come to it, take it from me. Stupidest thing in the world to do. You get the $5 million, you set it over there, you go ask somebody, let me borrow $3.5 million against about $5 million. And then I'm gonna buy all that stuff I want, but I'm gonna leave that $5 million sitting on principal, and then I'm gonna make the interest off that $5 million to pay back the loan of $3.5 million. And I never touch my principal. So you cannot let the pain of yesterday mess with your tomorrow. You got to know how to spend your money.
Hey, this is what we coach a lot of our athletes. Your first contract, you're just surviving. Okay, you want to make it to your second contract. The second contract is where you're making big money. But that first contract, all you're looking to do right now, it's not about flexing. It's about surviving and staying hungry and being available. Get in the game. You know, it's surviving and winning for your rookie year, your second year. And making sure that you hear the right things about money. Let me share with you something that a lot of guys don't want to hear. When Michael Irvin talks about how to spend your first $5 million, he's speaking from his own personal pain, his scars, not theory. And by the way, I bumped into him at the airport the other day. And who knows, guys? He asked me to connect with his people. Who knows? He might be a guest here on the Just Earn It podcast here shortly. But Michael Irvin, playmaker, saw his teammates lose everything. He saw his families crumble. He saw his careers of his buddies, and not only overnight, but everything they worked for disappear overnight because of lack of financial management. And the truth is, the NFL isn't a retirement plan. It's a short financial window to build a solid lifetime foundation of income for the rest of your generation, multiple generations, in that short window of your 20s, maybe 30s, rarely your 40s. So as a guy on this side that has helped thousands of families, entrepreneurs, high-income earners, here's the part I'd add. You need to make sure you break it down like this. Your first $5 million should be broken down. Number one, buy time, not toys. Buy time, not toys. And don't worry about your guys in the locker room laughing at you, because you need 3 to 5 years of runway so pressure doesn't force bad decisions out of you. You want to be able to make financial decisions chilling. Matter of fact, think 50-50. 50%, whatever thinks you got paid, 50% already is gone in taxes. You got nothing to say about that because you're an employee of the NFL, you're an employee of the NBA, you're an employee of the MLB. 50% of whether they pay you is gone, and let alone the state income tax. You got to pay a jock tax for every state you make money in. You got to pay the state income tax whenever you play in LA, when you play in New York, whenever you play in Ohio, Illinois. Second one is protect the downside. And for all our athletes, yes, that means life insurance with living benefits. To make sure you can, if you can't play, that it triggers a cash flow for you in case you have some form of short-term disability. You know what? You want to create trust structures, asset protection. You want defense, okay? Because a lot of things, distractions, people, fam, come out the woodwork. You want to be able to protect your stuff, because the fastest way to lose money is through lawsuits, being caught up in the wrong thing, injuries, poor advice. Protect the downside. That's why in my second book, I wrote Gotcha. Now, avoid the 5 gotchas of money. Losses, healthcare, taxation, inflation, and procrastination. Avoid those 5 gotchas. Third one, you got to build a money machine. Your money machine, yes, it's you, but you got to create your own corporation. You're being paid like a Fortune 500 CEO, like a corporation. Cash flowing assets is what you need. Things that you can invest in and bring cash flow to you in addition to your NFL or pro athlete income. You need smart retirement planning vehicles, something that you're not penalized in before you're 59 and a half years old in case you need to use it. That's why in the NFL, a lot of them can't touch their 401k until they're 45 years old. And by the way, when you touch it at 45 years old, you still got to roll into IRA. You still can't touch it based on federal laws. You can't touch it until 59 and a half years old by the federal government. If you do, you pay early withdrawal penalties like 10% and federal income tax and state income tax if your state requires you to pay state income tax. But why do you think the NFL caused their players through the union not to touch their 401k money until they're 45 years old? Because they knew young athletes would get out. They want to drain that stuff. So they're doing it to protect their own athletes. You got to build a money machine. You got to maximize your brand while you're on this massive platform. You want sponsorship deals. You want opportunities, speaking opportunities. That's why a lot of guys start building their camps, their outreach, because the camps allow them to build relationships in the community. And replace that entourage already. Replace that entourage with a boardroom of wise counselors on your boardroom. You don't need an entourage. Because your circle can drain you or your circle can elevate you. You choose. Because 5 friends isn't a plan. 5 advisors, now that's a plan. The next one, build legacy while you build wealth. If your parent struggles and they're dependent on you as their way out, if you came from nothing, then your job isn't for you just to make it. It's to make sure your kids never go back to you that way. And whether you're an NFL star or first-time entrepreneur, your money needs a plan or someone else will plan for it. What do you want to do? If you want help, that's why you got the 7-figure squad. That's why you got me. Put it in the comment section. Advisors. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, but I could definitely put some counsel your way as an advisor. Not a financial advisor, but just an advisor. Good job, Michael Irvin, for schooling these guys. In the meantime, all right. Where are we next? Where'd it go? Where's the next? I exited out too fast. Boom, 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 boom. What the hopping? Oh, I lost the floor. Are you okay over there? Sorry for the pause, everybody. All right, let me go to the next one. Okay, here it is. All right, so speaking of a professional helping, this is what an estate planner does to help her kids. Let's take a look at this.
5 things we're doing that I don't hear many people talk about when it comes to setting up their children financially. And in the interest of transparency, I'm not going to discuss some of the things I think there's already a lot of awareness around that we do for our kids, like 529 college savings accounts, regular savings accounts, or the fact that my husband and I have ample life insurance if, God forbid, something happens to us. Instead, these are 5 things we're doing that I think deserve more conversation. First, and I think it goes without saying as an estate planning attorney, I drafted trusts for each of our children. The assets that live inside those trusts, either because the asset is titled in the name of the trust or because the trust is listed as the beneficiary,
it's her world.
Give us control and provide them with protection. Those assets grow under our guidance and stay aligned with our legacy plan for them. Second, because they have earned income, I open Roth accounts for them, invested in simple, long-term ETFs so their money can benefit from the power of compounding tax-free.
$7,000 a year.
I added them as authorized users on 2 of our credit cards.
Even better.
Ones
I
that
like
allow
that. So you have
minors
long-term
with no
credit
minimum
history.
age and actually report authorized user activity to the major credit bureaus. That means the history builds quietly in the background and becomes a part of their credit profile once they become adults.
One thing you got to be careful though as a parent, don't you screw up your credit. If you use that strategy, if you screw up your credit, guess who you screw up to? Your kid's credit. because they're authorized users on your credit card. That reflects on not only your credit report, but also reflects on your credit card if they are an authorized user. So you got to be disciplined with paying your credit cards and maintaining a lower than 30% credit usage on your credit cards.
Fourth, we're funding index universal life insurance policies that provide coverage now and build cash value over time. Down the road, they can access that cash value tax-free through policy loans, or if God forbid, life takes a different turn, their families would have a death benefit in place. And fifth.
By the way, smart. By the way, we're shooting a video today because a lot of people today ask, Matt, I think IOLs are a scam. IOLs are a scam. I just heard Kyle Busch say that IOLs are a scam. Well, my video that we're shooting this afternoon is going to have a rebuttal to it. So stay posted. Make sure you subscribe here to the 7 Figure Squad YouTube channel so therefore you can get it when it's finally edited because we're shooting it today. But if IOLs are such a scam, why is an attorney right here saying that her kids have an index universal life policy in addition to a Roth IRA? Because these two financial vehicles allow your money to grow down the road without having to pay a dime in tax. Roth IRA, the downside to a Roth IRA, can't really fully use it until you're 59 and a half years old. But the kids, if they needed to use something in between and they're starting at a young age, guess what they can use in their maximum funded index universal life policy? They can take withdrawals or loans against the policy without paying a dime in tax in accordance to Internal Revenue Code 7702. They can take this money out with the paying a dime in tax, and bam, they can have the choice whether or not to pay it back or put it back into policy if they choose to. It's their choice. And Lord forbid something happens to them, they have a death benefit to make sure they're not a burden on their siblings, a burden on their families down the road. And mom and dad took good stewardship to make sure the children had this in place. How much better would you have been had your mom and dad established a Roth IRA or index universal life or both policy for you when you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, and that money was going to grandpa without your knowledge? And then, at 25 years old, hey, guess what mom and dad did for you? We established for your Roth IRA. It's been compounding and growing for 20-some years. Here it is. You got $100,000 in it. What? Yes, but be smart about it. Be smart about it. my daughters were asking, Bobby, do you have a policy for it? I do. Can I see it? No, because I own it. And I'll make sure that once you're properly wise and appropriate and you're financially mature to see it, that you may get it. Because I want to give it to you when you're properly ready to go. Because if I just hand it to them blindly and I haven't seen a habit of them properly stewarding finances, then I just wasted 20 years of me doing that. Good job here so far. Let's continue.
We're having intentional conversations and engaging in activities
Perfect.
that surround financial literacy while they're still young. We talk about tithing, saving, spending, and investing in ways that, at least at this point, Summer can understand. I have a fun financial literacy workbook that Summer and I spend time with every Friday, along with hands-on activities that make sometimes abstract concepts easier to grasp. Frankly, these conversations and activities are just as important as everything we're doing in the background. It's really important to me that my husband and I set our children up for financial success early. These are just a few ways we're laying a foundation for generational wealth, not just in dollars, but in understanding. I wanted to share 5 things we're doing that I don't hear many people.
Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. More people need to follow her and her husband's example. I'll give you an example. We coach a lot of new aspiring entrepreneurs and some already mature in the business, less them, more new and aspiring. And we get to know the kids. And so, for example, we would be at a picnic, et cetera, and they kind of know who I am. Mom and dad tells me who I am. And some of these kids coming around, right? Of course, we coach, recruit, train, and develop kids in a multicultural middle class, predominantly in the Black and brown community, Asian community. And kids come up to, hey, Mr. Matt, give me money. Little ghetto-ass kids. Hey, Mr. Matt, give me some money. Which tells me mom and dad are edifying me the wrong way. Mr. Matt, just give me some money. We know you're rich. Okay, and I'll tell them this. Why would I give you money? Because. What do I owe you to give you my money? What did you do above and beyond what you're supposed to be doing at your age that requires me to give you money? Because it's my money. I don't have to give it to you just because you ask me. Well, I did all my homework. Well, you're supposed to do that. Well, don't I deserve it? No, they're supposed. Does mom and dad, just because they take care of you and they put food on the table, they put a roof over your head, they put you in school, do you pay them for that? No, they're supposed to do that. Just like you're supposed to do your homework. But I said, you remember the last time you came here last week? You created for me an iPhone case that you bedazzled, and I gave you $20 for it? She said, yeah, do that. I'll give you $20 for it. Do that again. Give me something. Give me something, a product, a service. Help me out. Improve my life some way. I'll give you money for it. And you tell me your price. But I can't just let you get away with, give me money just because. Find a way to earn it. She turned around and walked away. I don't know if she was kind of like sad, or at least at the very least, I think she was thinking. Because the next time I want these kids to be around me, I'm thinking I'm just Mr. Moneybags, just give money out for free. You go come around me, you got to earn it. The best thing you can show your kids that the world doesn't owe you anything. If you've got air in your lungs this morning and you weren't getting shot at, and you can work, you can operate, you can make a living. In the words of this famous poet, Ice Cube, today is a good day. Go and make it happen. Teach your kids those basic things that the world doesn't owe you anything. And mom and dad, just like you, got to go out in this world and you have to find a way to earn it. Let's go. Speaking of earning it, what's the opposite? The opposite is Milton Friedman, a famous economist coming out of the University of Chicago. He's talking here about the benefits or good intention benefits that didn't really work out to its benefit long term. What are we talking about? We're talking about welfare, the projects, and how government is supposed to be a crutch or a helping hand, but doesn't really help that hand long term. Let's take a look at this.
And feeling of dignity. They become subject to the dictates and whims of their welfare supervisor, who can tell them whether they can live here or there, whether they may put in a telephone, what they may do with their lives. They're treated like children, not like responsible adults. And they're trapped in the system. Maybe a job comes up that looks better than welfare, but they're afraid to take it, because if they lose it after a few months, it may be 6 months or 9 months before they can get back onto welfare. And as a result, this becomes a self-perpetuating cycle, rather than simply a temporary state of affairs. In this public housing project in the Bronx, New York, 3/4 of the families are now receiving welfare payments.
Okay, I wonder what this, so let me just Google here right quick. Milton Friedman. When was Milton Friedman alive? Okay, yeah, so he was lived from 1912 to 2006, okay? So pretty much, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s was his prime. Okay, 80s, 90s was his prime. So Milton Friedman, who's a famous economist, who many capitalists follow. And we talks about, you talk about, what makes sense today. A lot of disciples from Milton Friedman are out there, like Thomas Sowell, right? The famous African-American man who studied under him at the University of Chicago, also was a United States Marine. And he grew up dirt poor. But Milton Friedman said when the government steps in to help people financially, it eventually hurts the people that it was meant to protect. Why? Because welfare creates dependency, expectancy. Just kind of like I was talking about this young girl yesterday that was asking, hey, Mr. Matt, give me money. That's a welfare poverty mentality. It's dependency and it's not development. And when the government grows, guess what also? Guess proportion what grows. When the government decides to grow, guess what proportion happens? People shrink. Government grows, people shrink. And dignity gets replaced with dependence. Dependence on the state, dependence on somebody else. I often ask people all the time, what do you want to depend upon? Church, charity, your family, people love and care about, or you depend upon yourself? And what do you respect the most? And look at today, 40 million, here's some data, 40 million Americans on some form of aid. 40 million Americans. Rising reliance on government programs, fewer people are participating in the workforce, whole communities stuck in financial paralysis, multi-generational dependency becoming normal. This isn't compassion, this is captivity. And what economic system allows people to grow? It's back to capitalism. Capitalism has been my saving grace. Entrepreneurship has been my saving grace. And as someone who's built a $1,000,000 business with no degree, no fancy background, no rich friends, no head start, I can tell you this. Welfare can keep you from starving, but can also keep you from growing. When push comes to shove, what do? Instead of getting better, you get dependent? And maybe this is a conversation you need to have with people in your life. Listen, what are you doing just laying around the house? Oh, healthcare issues. Well, you better get over it. Oh, mental issues. You better get over it. You better get counseling, get some medical help. Find a way to treat yourself because we got a farm out there. We got to work. We got livestock we got to tend to. By the way, I think farmers and ranchers are some of the hardest Americans in America. Wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, things happen, tornado tears up your spot. You got to deal with 50, 100 acres of land all by yourself. Whew. Some of the roughest people I see in America. Those are old Americans. But I've seen both sides. I've seen families trapped in the welfare system. Matter of fact, sometimes we are interviewing people and they like to work with us on a part-time basis. And people say, well, is this going to make me over 50 grand a year? Yeah, I can't do it. Why? Because if I make 50 grand a year part-time with this thing, that means I cancel my benefits from the government. You're not supposed to be dependent on the government. Back to my old conversation is that I was never dependent upon my VA disability, although I can very much get it. I got 2 torn patella tendons. I got L4, L5 stenosis. I have achalasia. My hands don't fully close anymore because of the methyl alpha ketone we were using to clean our weapons. I can get my disability. I don't, because capitalism changed my life, not disability checks. And so when you're looking at what we got going on today, as I wrap up, the old economy is behind us now. Stop waiting for the old economy to come back and shift its ladder to you. No, the new economy is over here. You got to go over to it. And we're discussing this in detail at our Keep the Keys workshops throughout the country. I'll be in Corona, California on Thursday. Here's where you can see where I'm going to be at next in terms of the book tour. I'll be in Corona, California, hosted by Christian and Flor Oriana. These guys are Latinos from Honduras, and they had 6 property and casualty insurance agencies at 3-4 body shops. They sold all that for 7 figures just to work with us at PHP Agency, and now they're about to cross $2 million in income. Having a blast with this business model, a very simple business without a lot of inventory, doesn't require a lot of employees, is per their opinion. And they're hosting me in their office in Corona, California, off the 71 this coming Thursday. On Saturday, I'll also be in Carrollton, Maryland, in the DMV area, the Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. I'll be in the DMV area this coming Saturday for the Keep the Keys tour event too as well. Very excited about it. Also back here in Dallas, December 11th, I'll be here for the Keep the Keys tour. We had a packed one this past Saturday. Close to 300 people were at this event on Saturday, jamming at the Keep the Keys event. Also, February 12th, if you want to come to our next Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event, and the Jeff Karcher, the Chief Global Strategy Officer, will be interviewed by me on stage about the importance and the significance of the Texas Stock Exchange now in Dallas. And last but not least, if you want to connect with me directly. So Matt, I want to talk to you. What's a guaranteed way for me to get to you? Connect with me on Connect. You can text me. You can require me to text you back or send you a video, a message, or we can get together for a 15-minute strategy session. How do you get all that? Connect with me on Connect. That's a guaranteed way for you to get direct access to me without worrying about emails, text messages, DMs on social media. Connect. There's a QR code. Connect with me on Connect. Real strategies, real connection, real answers, me and you. That being said, guys, this wraps up our Tuesday Millionaire Responds YouTube Live. Check with us again next week. Tomorrow, we got some. What are we talking about tomorrow? What's our video for tomorrow? Anyway, we'll figure it out. Stay posted to our YouTube channel tomorrow here at 7 Figure Squad. I will also be responding to a Index Universal Life scam lawsuit. So stay posted to that because this young lady here, this attorney, says her kids have reminded us at Index Universal Life, but yet there's a lawsuit out there. People have Index Universal Life by a very famous NASCAR driver who says it's a scam. What's the truth? I'll be responding to it here shortly. So stay posted to our YouTube channel here. We'll have that video up here in no time. That being said, guys, from Dallas, Texas, make sure you subscribe if you've done so yet. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here. Drop your biggest takeaway in the comment section below. And stay posted here for next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. In a response here on the 7 Fear Squad YouTube channel. That being said, until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today. Bye-bye.